Hello and welcome to the VickyCharles.com podcast for those of us who need just a little help with our blogging and social media. The show notes for this and all previous podcasts can be found at VickyCharles.com/podcast. And at the moment I'm giving out free social media tips. Just go to VickyCharles.com/social-tips and fill in your details, and then I'll email you 3 personalised action points for your social media. You can also sign up there for my mailing list. This week's episode, number 53, is 5 ways to get more Facebook page likes. So let's get on with it. So welcome to episode number 53 of the VickyCharles.com podcast. This week's episode is 5 ways to get more Facebook page likes. Now, before we begin, I just want to point out that I am quite opinionated on this. I tend to feel that it's quality rather than quantity when it comes to these things. I know a lot of people like to have a lot of likes on their page, and it can work well in terms of working with brands if you're a blogger, or social proof, I guess, or being taken seriously by other people in your niche if you've got more likes on your page. Personally, I would be more inclined to ask somebody what their reach is like, but ultimately you can get larger reach by having more people like your page as long as those people are engaged. I've written a post before, and I will link to it in the show notes, about joining like ladders and why I think that they essentially bring you fake likes that are no use to you at all. I would rather have 100 people like my page who genuinely are really interested than 1,000 people who just do it so that I'll like their page back. I'm not into that at all. So this is 5 ways that you can hopefully get engaged people to like your page and be interested in what you're doing. The first one is a little trick that I picked up a few weeks ago. It's inviting people who have liked your recent content. So if you go into Facebook as yourself rather than your page and go to your page, you can look at the most recent posts on your page. Now, I really wouldn't go back more than 24 hours, purely because people have short memories, and if they don't like your page and they've liked something on your page, they're not going to remember who it was necessarily 24 hours later. So choose something really recent. And at the bottom of the post where it says how many people have liked this post, it usually says liked by Joe Blogs, Fanny Adams and 7 more. Click on and 7 more, and it'll bring up a little box with a list of all the people who've liked that post, and next to their names it either has yes, liked this page, or liked, or a little button to say invite. Now, you will get some people who have nothing next to them and you're not able to invite them. That's because of their privacy settings, I think. But for the most part, you will always find, or I tend to find, if I have a post that gets good reach, I tend to get likes from people who don't like my page. So then I'll go and invite them. Hey, what you're basically saying is, I saw that you liked something of mine. Why don't you come and like my whole page? The idea is, they've already engaged with you. They're already interested in what you've said before. So hopefully they would then come and like your page. I've invited a lot of people recently, and I have had a lot of people take me up on that and join my page, which is generally a good thing, I think. The second way that you can get more people to like your Facebook page is a really, really simple one that I think hasn't occurred to a lot of people. Invite your friends. When you first set up a Facebook page, it encourages you to invite your friends to like your page. But I don't know about you, I have gained quite a few friends on Facebook since I first set up my page 3 years ago. So every now and then I go back through and just invite people. But also, my page is about being a single parent. And when I first set it up, a lot of my friends weren't parents. 3 years later, those friends now have babies, are now more interested in parenting topics. So, it's always worth re-inviting. I don't just blanket invite everybody, and I would never ever accept a friend request and immediately invite somebody to my page, because I hate when somebody does that to me. But just go through and kind of make an educated guess about the people that you've made friends with recently on Facebook, and whether you think they'd like your content. So for me, I'm not going to invite 20-year-old guys to like my single parents Facebook page, because that's not who I'm aiming it at. I'm going to ask, I don't necessarily only invite single parents, but I tend to invite a lot of mums, because I'm a mum, basically, and so they're more likely to be able to relate to me. I have a lot of men on my page, and I've got nothing against them, but for the most part I'm aiming it at mums, specifically single mums, so I'll go out and invite mums to like my page. The third way for you to get more Facebook page likes, it's one of those things that sounds really simple and everyone goes, duh. Post viral content. If you post something on your page that people like and they engage with, You'll have lots more people like your post that you can then go and invite to your page, but also it'll get a wider reach. I find whenever I have a post that goes not viral, but gets a lot of attention, gets a lot of reach, just automatically a few people will then come and like my page because they're interested in what I've got to say. So how do you find viral content? First of all, create your own. Use your voice to speak out about what's important to you. So for me, I'm a single parent. Earlier this week was Single Parents Day, so I just knocked up a little graphic with a picture of me and my daughter, Happy Single Parents Day. That reached about 7,000 people. And then I remembered, I had another graphic that I've used before on Single Parents Day, so I reposted that because, hey, it was a year ago, most people can't remember what was posted last week on Facebook. So I posted that, and that reached about 7,000 people as well. So it's tapping into what is going on in the world at the moment and what is relevant to you. So always use websites like daysoftheyear.com, but also the homepage on Facebook tells you what is trending on Facebook. Never ever assume that just because it's trending on Facebook and you've seen it in 2 news feeds that everybody on your page will have seen it. Facebook is massive, it has billions of people, and to be honest, even if they have seen it before on another timeline, if it's funny, they're still going to laugh again. If it's entertaining, if it's engaging, if it's interesting, they're still going to have a look. I try and find if there's something that's in the news and there are lots of links being shared to stories, I try and find a link to a story that maybe looks at it from a different angle or has something different to say about it, so that I'm offering people something different, so they're not seeing the same post over and over again on their newsfeed. You can also share from other pages. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I shared something from my friend's page the other day and it reached a couple of thousand people, and all I'd done was hit share. I think I hit share and wrote, yep, this, and that was it, and it reached over 1,000 people just like that. So I follow a lot of fellow bloggers, but I also follow pages like BuzzFeed. If you see something that your friend has shared that looks funny, a funny picture of a funny meme, a funny video, always go back and check out the page that's been shared from and see if that's worth you following it, to see if you can share more of their content. As long as you're sharing their content, they'll love you for it, because you're increasing their reach as well as your own. 2 birds, 1 stone. And also kind of keep an eye on just what's going on around you. If there's stuff in the news that's relevant to you, or if it's, so I deliberately didn't post anything about the budget last week because I didn't want it to ruin my day. So I just put a post up saying I'm not posting about the budget because I don't want it to ruin my day. If your timeline is full of, I don't know, is it the Rugby World Cup or something, or Six Nations, there's nothing to stop you putting up a post saying hands up if you're not watching the Six Nations today, hands up if you're not watching this today. It doesn't have to be something in the news that is relevant to you. It can be something in the news that is completely irrelevant to you, and you can always pull that in. And if you're posting something that's interesting and engaging, people will like and share it without you asking them to, usually. The 4th way that you can get more Facebook page likes is to post consistently. I go on about this all the time. People post, once every other day, and then they go, I don't know why nobody's seeing my content, because you're not there. You're not under their noses. The average person has however many 100 friends, they follow however many pages, their newsfeed is, full of lolcats and what have you. If you're not there under their nose every single day, they're not going to see you. But also the algorithms will mean that when you do post, the algorithms won't bother showing your posts to anybody, so it's not worth you bothering, really. Post consistently, at least once or twice a day. Try and post at the most popular time when most of your fans are online, so that you're hitting most people. What that does is it automatically increases your reach, because the algorithms will, as long as you're posting content people will want to comment on and engage with, and that's a whole different topic. People will, by liking and commenting on your post, that means that your post will automatically reach more people, and your next post will automatically reach more people if your last post was popular. But also, from a personal point of view, if you're under somebody's nose constantly, they're more likely to pay attention to you. And then when they like and comment on your posts, their friends will see that they've done that, and that's more, that's what gets you the reach, and it's what's more likely to get people to like your page. You need to be posting consistently. also, if I see a page and I go and look at it and it's it's maybe had a funny picture this week that people have been sharing, but there was nothing for like a month beforehand, I'm not going to bother liking that page purely because there's no point. I know that they don't update very often. I'm not going to see anything when they do update, and I cannot be bothered to follow that page specifically or get notifications specifically when that page updates. I don't have time for that. I'm not that interested. There is one person on Facebook who I have requested for their posts to show up first in my newsfeed, and that is because I am very, very interested. I am like their super fan. Nobody else is going to get that. Only the one person. Most people, if they do that, there's only one person they do that with, and it's very unlikely to be you. I hated to break it to you. You're going to need to work damn hard to get to that position. So you just need to post consistently, keep showing up, keep being there, keep passing comment on the things that are relevant to your page and to your business, and eventually, the ball starts to roll. But you do have to. It's not kind of a slow and steady wins the race. It's one of those. You need to keep plodding, and it's not going to happen overnight. So you need to be patient with it as well. The fifth way that you can get more Facebook page likes is with ads. Now, I say that. What I don't mean is that you should just do ads saying come and like my page. I don't think they work brilliantly. What I tend to do is if a post starts to do well, I'll boost it and have it go a little bit further. Or sometimes I will put on what is called a dark post, which is an ad that shows up in people's timelines, but it's not on your timeline on your page. Those can work quite well, and they show up in people's timelines. And what's great about those is when they show up in somebody's timeline, there's a little button to like page there and then, and when people click on it, it doesn't take them away from their newsfeed, so they're more likely to do that because it's not going to take them away. They're not going to lose their place in what they were doing and what they were looking at. So it's worth bearing in mind. I don't think I've ever spent more than about £5 on boosting a post, just because you never know. It's a bit hit and miss. You never know if people are going to really go for it. And that's why I tend to wait and see if a post starts to do well before I boost it. Because, sometimes I post something and I think, yeah, that's going to get loads of... people are going to really love that, and then nothing happens. It dies a death. And sometimes I post stuff and I think, yeah, well, I'll just put this up here because it's how I'm feeling today. And it gets really good, great post engagement and likes and shares and comments. And I'm kind of sat left thinking... how did that happen? How did that happen? I don't understand. So I wait and see how a post does before I will spend any money on it, basically, because A, I'm a skinflint, and B, I don't have money to burn on these things. So those were my 5 ways for you to get more Facebook page likes. I would love your feedback if you try any of these, especially if you try the first one, inviting people who've liked your recent content. I'd love to know how you get on with it. Personally, I found it really useful, and I have really, I'm really positive about it, and I'm really going to keep doing it because I think it's been really handy for me. So if you found it useful, do let me know. If you have other ways that people can get more Facebook page likes, then do let me know. Thank you so much for listening to the VickyCharles.com podcast. The show notes for this and all previous podcasts can be found at VickyCharles.com/podcast. And don't forget that at the moment I'm giving out free social media tips. So if you go to VickyCharles.com/social-tips and fill in your details, I will email you 3 personalised action points for your social media. You can also tick the box on that form and join my mailing list, where you will be sent a free download of social media tips. And you'll be on my mailing list, so you'll get loads of cool stuff sent to you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back next week.